it became really clear that the support that I have in my life is through books. This is how my life changed. The book club's own purpose for wanting to be born was to help each of us remember why we chose to be here, why we chose this form, this existence, this time on this earth. You're going to be uniting with others, and they're going to be the people that you've been longing for. They are going to feel like the family that you've been waiting for. But you no longer need to fight to find your place in this world. You don't need to fight to get people to get you. It gets to be easy. It gets to be easy. Hello and welcome to the launch party for the Divinely Guided Book Club. If you resonate with terms like mystic, lightworker, starseed, or spiritual seeker, and you've been longing for a place that feels like home, this space was created especially for you. My name is Yas Naidoo-Jooste. I am a spiritual intuitive, a writer and healer, and quite recently became the keeper of this book club. The idea for this book club just came to me quite randomly one morning about a month ago, and it sat quite strongly with me and did not really give me much choice but to bring it out into the world. So it happened quite quickly. The dreaming of it and planning and launching had to happen within a space of 1 month, and I was not prepared for this, but here we are, and I'm excited, and I'm also wondering, like, where is this going? What is happening? So this is a journey for me as well, but I'm thrilled to be here, and I am so excited to have you with us as well. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself because I was not always this person. It happened back in 2022. So back then I was in a corporate career. I was working in the IT retail industry, and I had the role of a team coach and a team manager. And that was pretty much the career path that I thought that I was going to be on for the rest of my life. And without any warning, things just started changing for me. And it feels like little things that happened along the way led into the next thing and the next thing. So I'm going to mention a few things of how this journey happened, but truly there must have been like 100 other things that happened that contributed to me landing where I am today. And it has everything to do with how this book club came to be. So I would really love to share this story with you because it is the essence behind creating this book club. So back in 2022, I got this calling to quit my medication for depression and anxiety. So I was on this medication for almost 15 years. It started when I was in high school, quite young. And back then, whenever you had some sort of mental condition, it was treated in a way that just like suppressed it and silenced it. I was not exposed to anything about enlightening yourself and transforming and self-healing. These things were just not known to me at all. It was not known in my community, in my family. It was quite foreign. So when I got this feeling, this deep inner body knowing to quit my medication after almost 15 years, I couldn't help but follow it, even though I didn't know what was going on. It didn't seem like it made sense because this was what I had been doing for so many years. This was how I was treating myself and taking care of myself. And because I had been on medication for such a long amount of time, I had been through various types of medication because it was just never working well for me. It made me feel really numb, and I was still very depressed and anxious even though I was receiving treatment for it. So I had been through a number of medications, and I kind of had an idea of what the process would be like to end a medication. And so whatever I'm sharing now, I am absolutely not recommending that you do this without the guidance and support of a qualified medical professional, because it was quite hectic what I experienced. I did know that when ending any sort of medication, especially when you've been taking it for a long time, you need to do it gradually. It has to be done slowly, where you wean yourself off it after a number of weeks. And that is what I did. And I thought that I was going to be just fine, but I was not fine. I think I spent about 6 to 8 weeks weaning myself off this medication, and it was only after I took the very last pill. It was, I remember, 3 days after I took the very last pill, all the emotions broke loose. Everything that had been suppressed for more than a decade was now unleashed. And I was not prepared for this. And I really struggled. And I am learning now that when doing something like this, when taking such a huge step to make a change in your life, you do not have to do it alone. You do not have to do it without having support and without having knowledge on how to do it in the best way possible. And I tend to not have regrets because, you would never get to where you are had you not done everything in the way that you did it. But damn, I do kind of regret handling the ending of my medication in that way. There were withdrawal symptoms that were making me extremely tired and dizzy. I would be having these like lightning bolts going off in my head. It felt like lightning was striking different parts of my brain. And sometimes I would just have these moments of blacking out, and the emotional intensity was the worst that I had ever experienced. And things got quite dark. Like, emotionally, I was not in a good space, and I was starting to question, why do I even exist? If this is what life is, if this is it being so miserable and so hard and filled with so much suffering, why am I here? I don't want to be here. I was Everything was just going downhill. I was miserable in my job. I was unhappy in my marriage, and I was newly married. Like, this was now 1 year after I had just gotten married. I did not get to experience the honeymoon phase. Like, I was just so down, so depressed. Every area of my life felt like it was horrible. I'm just going to be blunt. It was horrible. I didn't want to be here. And so being off the medication for an extended period of time, because during the 15 years, I did go through periods of trying to quit, and then I would just end up back on another one. So this was now the first time that I was off it for an extended period of time. And what I got to realize was that I now had space in my mind and in my body, like physically and energetically and emotionally, because I was not being clouded and suppressed by this medication. I now had space to think. I could now reflect on the quality of my life and the way that I felt, and I was really unhappy. Like, I think many of us who go through life not really conscious to what's happening, like how we're feeling, and things not being in alignment in our external world, we don't really question it. We just keep showing up and accepting and tolerating a reality that so does not resonate with us, but we don't question it. But now, being free of this medication, I now had space to question. I was not happy. And like that was the light bulb moment to realize that I was truly unhappy. And I didn't even have to do anything beyond that. It was just taking the time to have the realization. And that sort of set everything else off in motion. So, shortly after having these realizations, I ended up meeting with a friend. Again, it's like quite random. You're just having a catch up with a friend. We were having lunch on an ordinary day, but, reflecting on it, it wasn't that random. It was meant to be. It was timed precisely when I needed it. So we're having this conversation over lunch, and my friend just mentions a book that he had purchased for a friend of theirs because their friend was going through an illness. If I recall, it was terminal. So it seemed like there was not much hope for what they were going through, but my friend believed that they could heal themselves. And then I got really curious about what I was being told. So, this is my first time being exposed to the idea of you can heal yourself. And I'm hearing more about this book. And if you're interested to know what the book is, it is Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So I'm hearing more about this book, about people having the ability to heal themselves, to heal their bodies, and to change their reality. It is something that we can do ourselves. We hold the power within ourselves. And I was so drawn to what I was hearing. And you must know that I did not read books at this phase of my life. I was really not into books for personal enjoyment, not at all. Like, if I think about the only books that I read were back in school, those set books and textbooks, like educational books for the purpose of getting through school. That was all I ever exposed myself to. And now I'm hearing about something else, personal transformation, spiritual transformation. Like, this was new, but something in me, like, clicked. A spark ignited. I was hooked to what I was hearing. But because I did not read books at the time, I was not immediately convinced to go and get myself that book. What I did end up doing was I searched for that book on my phone on the internet, and I kept that browser tab open because I knew there's something about this book that I'm really drawn to, but I'm not ready. And that's so important, to acknowledge when you feel ready for a shift in your life, because if it doesn't come from you, then any attempt that is potentially forced on you will likely not have the best experience or even the best outcome. You truly must be ready for it. You must want it. You must want to make a change for yourself. And that is when absolute magic happens. So a few weeks went by, and things were starting to get worse for the way that I felt, the way in which my life was happening. It felt like life was happening to me. It felt like everything was just going wrong. Relationships were breaking down, like in my personal life and in my professional life. Things were just so chaotic. And I was getting really desperate to like tap out. I just wanted out of this reality. I was done. You almost have to get to that point of just being done. And you'll be willing to do anything, accept anything, go through anything just to get out of this existence that you cannot take anymore. So that's where I was. And so I remembered I have this book that is calling to me. Maybe it can help me. Like, I had the audacity to believe that I can heal the way that I feel. I can change my inner landscape and I can change my life. I have to believe it because, like, I've run out of options to exist in my current reality. So it's like definitely a bit of delusion was present for me to think I'm going to change everything. I refuse to exist here anymore. And so I took the path of least resistance. I got a hold of an audio version of the book because remember, I do not read at this point of my life. So it was not going to happen any other way. I had to listen to it while I was traveling to work and back home. That was the only time that I was willing to expose myself to this knowledge. And I will say that this particular book is not an easy read. Maybe I felt that way because I did not read, so any book would have been a massive leap and too much, and the complexity of the information to take in, it was a lot. I still do believe that it is quite a higher grade English and knowledge type of book. So I must have retained like 1% of what I learned in that book. But that 1% was enough for me to change my life forever. And what I learned from that book was that the reality that you desire to create can only be done in the unknown. So, what that means is having the strength and the courage to walk away from what does not feel good, what you know has expired, and just what does not resonate with you. It's having that courage to leave it behind in whatever capacity feels right for you. And moving forward in life, taking whatever actions you feel called to take, and having no guarantees that anything is going to happen or having any certainty that your path will go in a certain direction. You have to basically leave it up to life, leave it up to the universe to show you what is possible for you and what is best for you. But you have to move forward into that unknown. That is what I took away from that book. And so I started making quite rapid changes in my life, the way in which I approached just about everything, the way that I approached my emotional intensity. I stopped looking at my depression and anxiety as enemies, and I started looking at them as my friends. Again, delusion, but oh my word, it served me. It changed my life forever to start looking at these intense emotions as beings of their own that were here with me, that were walking through life with me and really only wanted the best for me. They were guiding me away from what was not right for me and what was actually best for me, guiding me towards what was best for me. So changing my mindset when it came to what I was going through on the inside, changing the way that I approached my relationships. So in the past, I often shied away from having confrontations because I was most often disrespected, disempowered, ignored, abandoned. The list goes on. And because I was approaching life differently, I was now making different choices. I was going up to people, letting them know how I truly felt. I was now making bold moves. So I left my job twice with, okay, I've done it more than that, but now I was doing it consciously, where I walked away from working environments that I did not feel truly respected me and valued what I was offering. I held the strength and the courage to walk away, even though I had no idea what was coming next. So I did not have anything like lined up on the side. I did not have any guarantees. This was me just go and play in the unknown, continue to walk away from what does not feel right and keep moving forward, and the answers will arrive. And that is what I did. I kept walking away. So not just from jobs, but also from friendships and family relationships, wherever I felt like I was just not being treated in a humane, civil way. I was done. I was out. And as I continued to do this, it was terrifying. So I'm not going to like sugarcoat it and be like, oh, it was an amazing journey of transforming my life and walking away. It was horrible. It was so scary. It was terrifying. I was like shaking most of the time, shaking, crying, not knowing how on earth I was going to get to where I needed to go, how I was going to survive wherever I ended up. But I kept on going. And that is where I learned that is what true courage is. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is not the absence of trembling inside, internally and physically. It is not the absence of those scary, depressing feelings. It is being willing to do what needs to be done and continuing to walk forward and to hold your head up, even if you are crying, to keep on going. That is what courage is. And I got to learn that I'm a freaking badass. Like, yeah, I may look like an absolute wreck. I may look like one of the most weakest people with the way that I'm breaking down, but the fact that I'm moving forward and holding this unshakable faith that things will get better, this makes me one of the strongest people I know. And I will fully sound conceited if I have to, because it's the truth. It's my truth. And so, as I continued to move forward and facing my fears, walking away from what did not serve me, a chain reaction occurred where more books started to find their way to me. So that is actually how the knowledge found me. It's not like I found a mentor or a guide like a physical person. It's not like I went to spiritual school or anything like that. Books literally found me, one book at a time, when I was reaching different phases of this journey of transformation. And I kept following the guidance that I was learning from these books. And what I didn't know at the time was that I was actually having a spiritual awakening through reading these books and taking these actions. The important part in the spiritual awakening is the fact that I was taking aligned action. It's one thing to read and to hold the information in your mind, but it is a completely different thing to actually go out there and make things happen. So looking back, that spiritual awakening started back in 2022. I just did not know it at the time because, like, first time I'm exposed to any of this, I didn't know what it was. And I continued going down this path for 2 years. And it was in 2024 that things really shifted. So things were shifting in that time, but things came to a head. Um, it felt like a complete life destruction explosion, but in the best way, where I had to make the very, very difficult decision to walk away from my job and my career forever. So this was no longer a situation of, I'm going to leave this place that I don't feel good in and I'm going to find another one. This was completely different. So there was an occurrence, a confrontation at my workplace that led to me to make this decision. But ultimately, it was my choice. And when I looked at the deeper meaning behind why this was happening, because like this came out of nowhere, I was caught off guard with the way in which things happened and exploded. So because I was on this spiritual path and I was looking at things differently, and I was always looking for the lesson to be learned in any difficult situation, when this thing happened, I immediately saw, oh my goodness, I'm being given an opportunity to end this chapter of my life because it is not good for me. I learned a lot. I've grown so much from it, and no regrets that I went on this 10-year journey of being in my corporate career. But I now reached a stage where the person that I had become was no longer a match for the environment. And so, again, moving into the unknown with no plan, no guarantees, no certainty, I made that decision. I surrendered. Something that I learned from one of the books that found its way to me. I surrendered and I made a wish to the universe to please give me a way forward, because I knew that I was no longer in a good space for me. I needed to leave this job and I needed to leave this career path. But like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to take care of myself financially. Like, it's not going to work. The way that things were at that time, it was not going to be possible for me to leave. And so instead of destroying myself, trying to figure out how on earth am I going to make this happen, I made a wish to the universe and I asked for help. And I was a bit feisty to give the universe a deadline because of what was happening at work and me needing to make a decision. There was a bit of a timeline that I needed to give my response, whether I was going to stay or not. And so I told the universe, please show me a way forward within a month. Please. Like, I'm at the end of the road now. I can't. I don't know. I thought that I was smart. I don't know. Please help me. And so I let it go. And again, it was not pretty and smooth sailing. I was destroyed by what was happening in my life. I was breaking down every day. And it was after 3 weeks that I made that wish, that the answers arrived. So a number of things happened. My husband was offered a new job opportunity with an increase in his salary that would make it possible for me to leave my job and my career. Another thing that happened was that I was guided to my very first oracle deck. And that was the thing that kickstarted my journey as an intuitive reader. When I did my very first reading, it actually explained the situation that I was in and that it was necessary for me to move forward into darkness. because that was the best thing for me. I was not given clear answers on where I was going. The only thing that I was shown was that I needed to move through this phase of discomfort and uncertainty. I needed to be really strong, and that what would find me on the other side is a feeling of wealth and prosperity and safety and security more than I have ever known. That's all I was given. And I had to trust what I saw in the cards. I had to trust what I felt. And I took the leap. I made the decision to leave. And it was not in the way that I hoped it would be. So my ego was very much, okay, I'm going to step away and then I'm going to try to make something happen pretty much instantly. I'm going to try to build my own business. I didn't even know what the business was going to be, but I was just fixated on making something happen. But what actually needed to happen was a breaking down of the person that I was, the very scared, afraid, disempowered, lonely person that I used to be, disconnected from myself, disconnected from the people on this planet, disconnected from the actual planet. That version of me needed to die. And it was not cool. It was not pretty. And I feel like I'm not really selling this journey of transformation really well. Like, I don't know if it was just me. I don't know if some people get to experience a really exciting and blissful, liberating journey. I definitely did have moments like that, but the majority of the year that followed when I left my career was just destruction and devastation and so much grief. I couldn't understand why I held so much grief. And now, being on the other side of it, I was grieving the loss of who I was, because that was a person, that was an actual human being. And although it was not a physical death, it still was a death. And being on this earth, being in this form, means that we will lose things, we will lose people, we will lose versions of ourselves. And grieving is part of the journey. And as much as I tried so hard to ignore that part, I tried to rush it, I tried to suppress it. It couldn't. It couldn't be ignored. It needed to come out. And I finally made a deal with my ego that I'm going to let this grieving, destructive phase happen. As much as I wanted to jump back into the working world by a certain date and in a certain way, I had to just let everything go and say to myself, when I'm ready, I will know. I don't need to force anything. And what happened in that year was a lot of relationships, mostly friendships, and a lot of habits, like pushing myself to do things that didn't really resonate with who I was becoming, that didn't resonate with my values, the type of person that I am. Anything that I did so that I would look good, to the outside world so that I could potentially please others. I stopped all of that. And similar to when I ended my medication, that act, or those multiple acts of empowering myself, ended up creating more space within me, more energetic, mental, emotional space. And so it was around the beginning of 2025 that I got the deep inspiration to launch my own spiritual business. It was always something that I felt called towards, but back when I left my career, I had no idea what I was going to do, how I was going to make it happen. And I didn't want to do just anything. I wanted to really be committed and devoted to whatever I was going to offer. So I'm glad that I really took my time to let it find me. And so I launched my business in June 2025 as an intuitive reader using tools like astrology, numerology, and of course, oracle cards. And I'm also learning tarot as well. As I started doing this, things started changing within me. The way that I felt just when I woke up each day, I was noticing I no longer feel like I don't want to be here. I want to be here. This journey of transforming made me realize that I came here to go through this. And the only way to know what it is like to really want to be here, to commit to your life, to your path, to your purpose, to experience deeper meaning and fulfillment in this life, the only way to have that is to know what the opposite is. That's how we can truly appreciate it. And so experiencing life in this way allowed me to move differently, allowed me to show up with more enthusiasm and optimism. I got the inspiration to start writing. This was something that I envisioned back in 2022 when I was just starting to think, can I change my life? I'm going to do this. I don't know how. I'm going to do it. Back then, when I closed my eyes and I saw what my future self looked like, that version of me was sitting in a cabin amongst the mountains, and they were writing. I'm pretty sure that it was a typewriter. A bit far, like it's quite a stretch for me to work with a typewriter, but that was what I saw. And it's actually been unfolding. I've been writing things that I didn't know that I could write. I've been writing about really painful experiences that I've been through, but now I'm seeing it differently. I'm seeing it as initiations that I chose to go through in this life so that I could come out with greater wisdom, with more strength, with a greater capacity to love and care for myself and others. And so, as I allowed myself to be on this journey, to immerse myself in what was finding me, more books, even more books found its way to me, more oracle decks found their way to me. And it became really clear that the support that I have in my life at this time is through books. This is how my life changed. I do not discount the value that came from my close family members and close friends and even coaches and therapists that walked with me on this journey over the last few years. They were absolutely needed and valued and appreciated. However, the connection that I developed with books is something that I cannot describe, and it is so strong that I actually feel that the books are people. They're people on their own. They're not the authors that wrote them. That's just how I see it. Yes, part of the author is infused into that book because that book would not exist without the author. But once the author lets it out into the world, the book is a being of its own. It's like having a child. It's like giving birth. There'll always be a part of you in this being, but this being has its own life, its own mission, its own purpose. And books found me exactly when I needed it. And it has been one of the most amazing, fulfilling experiences I've had in my entire life. It has changed things for me. Just the fact that I want to be here. I'm excited to be here, to see what life has to offer me, to see what I have to offer life, and to know that I hold the power to make my life better, to have the kinds of experiences that I dream of having. I can do that. I don't think that I would be here if it were not for all of those books and oracle decks that found me and held my hand through the greatest transformation period of my life. And so I have spent quite a bit of time describing my story, but this is the power and the intensity, the essence behind this book club. Because of the way in which books found their way to me, I wanted to create a space for others to experience it for themselves. And I guess it was something that I was wanting, and the book club itself, which I'm convinced is a being of its own, the book club wanted this for the world as well. And we found each other. I was united with this idea at the right time. Again, everything found me at the right time. So this is how the book club came to be. Yes, I got the idea randomly one morning, but if I had not gone through this powerful, life-changing journey, I probably would not have been able to devote myself to it in the way that I am now. And so this is what I wish to offer to you, to every single person that feels called to join this book club, to be on this journey, whether it be for a certain period of time or whether it be for however long the book club gets to experience life on this earth. That is my deepest wish, that you get to experience what I have experienced. And we get to experience it together, because it has been lonely. The journey has been lonely, and there's definitely benefit to being isolated, being on your own, so that you're not distracted by the views of every other person and by life being so busy. Being on your own gives you the time and the space to think for yourself, to know without a doubt, this is what you want, this is how you really feel. But once you're clear on that, it really makes no sense to live life in the best way, in your fullest, highest expression, if you're all on your own. It's only meaningful and fulfilling and so worth it when you do it with others. So that is my deepest wish for what I want this book club to be. But remember, The book club has a life of its own, and when I did my initial planning for the book club, I, of course, grabbed my Oracle deck to get more guidance on why this book club wanted to be born, why it chose me, and what was it offering those who felt called to be a part of it. I did get some wonderful guidance from the cards, and the book club's own purpose for wanting to be born was to help each of us remember why we chose to be here, why we chose this form, this existence, this time on this earth, to help us heal our relationships with ourselves, with those around us, to be united with our soul family members, the ones who resonate deeply with each other long before we ever chose to arrive on this earth. That is what I mean by soul family members. Spirits, souls, energies that are connected, who are one. The book club is here to bring us together. And in addition to that, it also wants us to expand our capacity to understand the light and dark aspects of being here in this form on this planet, the pain and suffering, as well as the joy, bliss, and enlightenment, and everything that falls in between. This book club wants us to understand that this is the life that we chose to live. There's nothing inherently wrong or bad with experiencing things that are difficult and hard to deal with. And in doing that, in understanding and experiencing that for ourselves, it unlocks greater levels of joy and fulfillment, deep appreciation to be here, to be alive. And when I asked for guidance on what it is that the book club wants to do for those that are called to join them or to join this space, basically the transformation. What transformation is this book club offering? It was to heal our existence, to feel like we belong, to know with certainty that we belong, no matter where we find ourselves, no matter who we are connected with, whether we are connected to physical beings, to non-physical beings in other dimensions. It is to know and feel that we deserve to be here. We are worthy of being here, and we are never alone. And that we can always experience a deeper meaning and deeper fulfillment. It is only a choice away. Suffering and pain and misery, yes, they are part of the human existence, but it is not meant to be permanent. It doesn't have to be permanent. We get to decide. We get to decide to move beyond it. That is what we are here to do. Whew. That was a lot. So I'm wondering if anything has come up for you, hearing my story, hearing what I wish for this book club, what the book club wishes for everyone who joins it. If there is anything coming up for you, I invite you to sit with it pause this video if you want to, and just give yourself that space to take it in. And if you feel called to share it, please do so. Please leave a comment. This is how we connect with each other. This is how we find each other. And we can celebrate our existence together. Whew, okay, I'm going to take a sip of water because this has been a lot even for me. Let's lighten things a bit. Let me share a fun fact with you. So, the book club wasn't always named the Divinely Guided Book Club. In fact, the original name was the Becoming Book Club, and this was inspired by that very first book that I mentioned to you, Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. It was because of that one book and my life changing forever that I thought, let me incorporate that book into the book club's name. And so I called it the Becoming Book Club, and that's where I started doing all my planning. And when I started creating the social media accounts for it, I found that the Becoming Book Club actually existed. Several variations of this name already existed, and I was like mildly frustrated because I got this very strong download, this idea that this book club wants to be brought into this world. I got the name and the inspiration to go forward. Why am I now being blocked just with a name? Like, I remember thinking, I was divinely guided to do this. I was divinely guided to create this. Why am I being blocked? And then it hit me. I was divinely guided. Let's call it the Divinely Guided Book Club. And so I then looked online. Does this name exist? Not for a book club. At least nothing came up. There are like a few pages that came up for those words, but specifically not a book club. And I thought, well, there you go. It's actually quite a perfect name for the book club. So, little fun fact, that is how the name came to be. And I thought I'd also share a little bit about what exactly the book club is and what it is not. So, the book club is being designed as an online reading space for those of us on the spiritual journey who want to have a greater sense of connection and belonging. It is to provide a platform for us to be on this journey of expanding and growing and to share that experience. It is digital at this time. It is how I am being guided to create it. I do understand that there are definitely huge benefits to having a physical book club and get together, and there is a space that exists for that in this world. But just how I am being guided in carrying it out, it doesn't want limitations. It doesn't want to create any barriers to enter. So by being digital, it has a much wider reach. And I'll explain more of how it wants to have a wider reach and not limit anyone from joining. It is being designed to allow you, as the reader, as the participant, to go at a pace that feels good for you. Having been on this journey of transformation and learning and growing myself, and the journey doesn't end just by the way. So although I experienced so much growth and change in the last 2 to 3 years, that's just the beginning. It's going to continue. So just something for you to note. The journey never ends. I have learned that it really has to be done at a pace that feels right to you. It definitely helps to have encouragement to have people motivating you, to have accountability by having a friend or a buddy or a guide of some sort to hold your hand on the path. But if anything is ever forced on you, if you feel pressured to learn something specific, to do something at a certain pace, to meet a certain deadline, I have found that the outcome is not pleasant at all. It's only when you listen to yourself, of course, giving yourself that room to expand and to move out of your comfort zone, that is necessary, but to do it at a pace that you feel safe within. That is the most important thing, and that is what this book club wants for all of us that are a part of it. So there will not be any meetings at this time. Like, I don't know if things will change in the future, but right now, there will not be any online or live meetings. It is completely to be done at your own pace. And if you would like to have people join you on the journey, then you are encouraged to find friends. And I will describe how you can do that in a bit. So that is what the book club is. What the book club is not, it is not for a specific type of person, and it is not for a particular religion. Again, the book club does not want to have any barriers to enter. So it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are, whether you have religious beliefs, whether you have spiritual beliefs, whether you just have nothing. The book club is designed to be welcoming for everyone. And so whatever books we do decide to read, it is not meant to dictate. So there will not be a predefined list of books or a specific book that each of us absolutely has to read. The way that it's being designed is that there will be a theme for a season. The way that I'm seeing it, the way that I'm being guided to do it is to have a theme for each quarter in the year. So there will be 4 themes throughout the year. And for each theme, we get to decide what book we want to read that aligns with that theme. And okay, I'm now moving on. So I've described what the book club is and what it isn't. I'm now moving on to describe how it's going to work. Okay, so I did share that we're going to have 4 themes throughout the year, and it will correspond to each quarter. And I will do a card reading where I get the guidance on what the themes are. And I will recommend books that I am aware of or I have seen that I believe would be suitable for the theme that we're following in each quarter. And I'm doing this just for those of you who may not be well versed when it comes to books. So if I tell you this is the theme and you're like, I don't even read books, like I don't know what book to get, the reason why I am going to share a very short recommended reading list is just to give you an idea of what you could possibly read. But again, it is not dictating. So you are free to decide what book you're going to read. You're more than welcome to pick one from the list that I will be recommending. You're welcome to choose a book that you happen to have already at home, or maybe you want to go to a library and find a book there. You're completely free. And hey, you don't even have to read a book. It sounds weird. You can be part of this book club and not even read a book, because we are here to learn and grow together. And we can do that just by listening to whatever is shared on the channel. So whatever videos are shared, you can learn just by listening. If reading is not your thing, if it is too much pressure on you to take in information from a book right now, but you still feel called to be here, by all means. No barriers to entry, okay? If you feel that you want to be here, then this space is meant for you. Okay, so I will be sharing a few videos throughout each season. There will be a video to describe what the theme is for each quarter, and I will share that early enough so that you have some time to decide what book it is that you want to read. What I will also be sharing is read with me videos. So for those of you who don't really have many people in your life, or maybe you just don't have anyone who resonate with this part of your life, being on a spiritual path and being part of a book club, what I envisioned was having a space that we can all go to so that we can read together, but we can do it at a time that suits us. So I do plan to share timeless reading room videos where the purpose of joining that video is simply to read your book, and there will be some gentle music in the background. And it might seem weird, like, what's the point of sitting on a video if you're not live and you're not communicating? But there is still power, there is energy, there will be energy infused into that video. And you will absolutely be able to feed off that energy and feed into the energy of that video. So yes, we may be joining it at different times, but the fact is we're still coming together. We're still choosing to go on this journey together, and that is powerful. That is the intention behind that video. So this is only if you feel like you want to have support and it's just not something that you know how to create for yourself and you don't know how to find people. That particular Read With Me video is something that you can be a part of. And what I also plan to do is to share reflections throughout the season on what book I will be reading and what I am learning about from the book, what I'm learning about myself, how I am integrating these lessons into my life. That is something that I also plan to share, and what I would love to hear from you as you go through your journey, as you are reading the books and making meaningful changes in your life, is to also share how it is impacting you, the positive changes that you're experiencing within yourself and in your life, to leave comments on those videos so that we can all hear about each other's journeys and support each other and be cheerleaders for each other. That would be absolutely amazing. And I'm going to take another sip of water because I've been talking a lot. Okay. So that is how the book club will be organized. It's very much self-paced, self-organized, and where you can find books. The most popular retailers that I know of are Amazon and what else? Google Books. So Amazon is quite cool in the fact that it has just about every type or version of the book available. Amazon sells physical copies, digital copies, the Kindle version. They also sell audiobooks. So if you want to purchase a book, that would be a good place to look. Google Books has digital versions. They've got ebooks and audiobooks. So that's another space that you could find books in. Or if you want to go to a local bookstore in your area, there would be countless bookstores that you can go to. So definitely shop around if purchasing a book is something that you want to do. And also think about your lifestyle before you just go and get yourself a book. So I'll tell you what the journey was like for me when my life looked different. When I was working full time in my corporate career, and I was very stressed and I was really busy, and there was just no time to sit down and read a book. But I really wanted to. And so the only way that I was going to get that information was to listen to it while I was traveling to work and back home. So back then, it made sense for me to listen to audiobooks. And now that my life has changed, I am working for myself. I have designed my days to not be busy from morning to evening. So I have a lot of space, I have a lot of time. And it doesn't feel that appealing anymore to listen to an audiobook when I have the time to sit down and to hold a book and to smell the book. I actually want to hold a book, a physical book right now. And so my preference has changed, and that is what I do. So I will either buy new books if it is a more recently released book, then I will most often purchase a brand new book. But if a book has been around for a really long time and it has, yeah, if it was released even before I was born, then most of the time you can't even find a physical brand new copy of the book. You would need to find a pre-loved copy. And so I definitely look for websites online for pre-loved books where you can save so much on the cost of a book. You can actually get like 2 or 3 books for what you would have paid for one brand new book. And I used to feel weird about it at first. Like, I don't know if I want to be taking on someone else's energy because it was with someone else. And yeah, it was just very weird in the beginning, but I see it so differently now. I see it as I am connected to this person that I am purchasing a book from. We were meant to go on this journey of learning and growing together. We may never meet each other, we may never know each other, but it is through this book that we are being connected, and there's power in that. And so I actually feel really good about getting pre-loved books these days. And of course, you have the option of going to a library. I have not gone to a library since I was a kid in school, but that is just my experience. If you really enjoy going to a library and you find really great books and you get a lot of value, then you can absolutely do that. So that's just a number of ways in which you can find a book that you want to read. In terms of finding friends, what I've done is I have set up an Instagram account. And the idea is that if you want to find a friend, or even if you just want to post about your journey and your experience in the book club, you can share your post in whatever format you like, whether it's a photo or a video, carousel, anything is cool. But to include hashtags so that those of us who are looking for friends can search for that hashtag and be connected with each other. So the 2 hashtags that I have thought of are hashtag Divinely Guided Book Club. And the second hashtag is to incorporate the book club's name and to also add the city that you live in so that you can find people in your city that are a part of the book club. So it's going to be a little bit complicated. Work with me, please listen, and please let me know if it is not clear. But I am definitely going to give examples so that this can be as easy as possible for you to implement. The idea is to have a hashtag DGBC and the city that you live in. So the DGBC stands for Divinely Guided Book Club, and I've shortened it, abbreviated it, if that's the correct term, just because writing Divinely Guided Book Club and adding your city at the end is like really long. Like, ain't nobody got time for that. So I've shortened it to DGBC and then your city. So, for example, if you happen to live in Cape Town, South Africa, your second hashtag would be hashtag DGBC Cape Town. Or let's choose another city. If you live in Queenstown, New Zealand, your second hashtag would be DGBC Queenstown. All right? So remember to include 2 hashtags. The first one is Divinely Guided Book Club. The second one is DGBC plus your city. And this is the best way that I can think of to help us find each other, that are whoever is closest to us in our city. If you happen to think of a better way, please do let me know. I am doing it this way just because I'm trying to have the least amount of admin, the least amount of stress, the least amount of social anxiety. So I know that there are other platforms to bring people together. I know that there are Facebook groups, there are WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups. But again, the way that I'm being guided to create and roll out this book club is to do it in a way that allows us to feel free, to move at our own pace, to decide for ourselves who we want to connect with. And to not put any pressure on us to have to deal with a busy group chat, to not have to put pressure on ourselves to have to organize big meetings and to make certain times in the day, because we all have our own things going on in our lives. This book club is meant to enrich our lives. It's not meant to make us less present and to make us exhausted and stressed out. All right. So this is the idea. The Instagram account is to help us find our friends. So it's not going to be an account that is used for a lot of promotional videos and stuff. Not really. I may share things here and there, but it's not, I don't intend for it to be a busy account. It's purely there to facilitate the finding of friends. So just remember, when you do share your post, add a little bit about who you are. Like, let people know who you are so that they can decide if they want to connect with you. And then also tag the Divinely Guided Book Club account. Include your hashtags so that people can find you more easily. And then the YouTube channel is going to be where we share our videos and the themes for each quarter and our reflections. So this is going to be the channel. YouTube is going to be the busier channel, if I can call it that. And again, if you have any recommendations on how to roll out this book club in a way that is more smooth and easier to connect with people in a way that is not stressful, I would love to hear from you. Please do leave a comment and let me know. And if you do decide to reach out to people on Instagram, please remember to check your message requests. That was something that I learned recently. If you get a message from someone that you're not already friends with, it'll get hidden in another section on Instagram where it's not that easy to see. So definitely check your message requests if you are going to be opening yourself up to finding friends. And when you do reach out to each other, you can decide for yourselves how it is that you want to interact, whether you want to just chat with each other on Instagram, whether you want to take it to another platform like WhatsApp, maybe you want to have video calls with each other. Totally up to you to decide how you want to manage that relationship and that interaction. And if you are super lucky to meet someone that is very close to you in proximity, then you can even decide to share the copy of your book. If you both decide to read a physical copy, then you can share it between each other. And I am so blessed to have a friend directly across from me. She is a half-a-minute walk away from where I live. So we have decided that we are going to share our book. What we're going to do is create different bookmarks, one for me and one for her, so that we can track how far we have gone through the book. And we're still going to decide how we want to share the book. Like, is she going to keep it for a few days and then I take it for a few days? We still are going to talk about that. But that's another idea for you if you happen to find a friend that's really close to you. All right, so I did mention that the book club is going to be organized in quarters to have a theme for each quarter. And ideally, we're going to be starting at the beginning of a year, which right now that would be the year 2026. Let me have another sip quick. So the plan is to roll out the book club formally from January 2026. So what do we do right now? Because right now it is 2025. We're nearing the end of the year. We have 2 months left of the year. It's November right now. We've got December to go. What do we do? Because we don't have an official theme for the book club. And again, I just listened to what the book club wanted. And what it wanted for this particular season is for us to simply gather, for soul family members to find each other, to come together and to connect. And so there is no particular theme. There is no particular recommended reading list. It's bring whatever book you happen to have, whatever you're currently reading, just bring it along and let's just connect and start building our circle of reading friends. And you can also use this time to decide, how do you want to participate in this book club? Do you want to read a physical book, an audio book? Do you want to make friends? Do you want to meet with other people in your own time? Use this time to decide how you want to participate. And we're just going to get the conversations going right now. We're going to be meeting each other. That is what the end of 2025 is all about. And the first official theme will kick off in January 2026. I will definitely make an announcement close to the time so that you can decide what book it is that you would like to get. And we will officially begin then. So please use this time to decide how you want to be involved. Reach out to me, reach out to other people that you happen to find or meet, and let's get the conversations going. Any recommendations you have for this channel, I'm absolutely open to receiving them. Okay, so I did mention the main social media channels are YouTube and Instagram, which will be for connecting and finding friends. And the tag or the username for these channels are the same. It's at Divinely Guided Book Club. I have included the links in this video description as well. So please do follow us on whichever account would serve you the best. And you can stay in touch for any announcements that are being made, and also to be a part of the learning journey, to keep up to date with whatever videos and reflections are shared through each season. Whew. So that is that is the book club. I think I got most of it out. If I do come up with anything else later on, I'll create a separate video for that. But it seems like whatever the book club wanted us to know for now, it has been shared. And I'm super excited. I'm super excited to just be a part of something that is bigger than me, to be a part of something that is here for the greater good of this world. And I hope that it's something that brings excitement and joy and true fulfillment to your life. That is truly what I wish for. That is what the book club wishes for you. And it is my deepest wish that you get to experience this on this journey. And I've shared everything that I needed to share about the book club for now. I would actually like to close with a collective card reading for all of us that have been guided to this place at whatever time we have been brought here. This is a timeless collective reading to give us guidance as we journey forward. So before we get into the reading, let's just take a moment to breathe, settle into the space that we're in. You can take a few deep breaths in and out, and you can close your eyes if that feels good. So let's just be present with where we are right now. And if you can, connect with the energy of this book club and every person that has been drawn to this book club. Feel yourself being connected to this energy. And if you closed your eyes, you can now open them. And we are now going to pull a few cards. I have 2 questions at the top of my mind, but if any more questions happen to come up, then we will just go with it. I am using the Healing Waters Oracle by Rebecca Campbell and Katie Louise. And the first question that I am going to pull cards for is, what does our soul want us to know right now as we begin this journey with this book club? What does our soul want us to know right now? The card is immerse yourself. Training, learning, new hobbies, passions. And there is a picture of a book on the card, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the only card in the entire deck that has a picture of a book. And so I love these signs and synchronicities that the universe sends us. So what I'm feeling with this card is that our soul wants us to know that this was destined. This was what we chose to experience in our life at whatever time we're coming across it. Being a part of this book club is a learning journey, a learning experience that our soul decided long before we even thought of being here in this world. It was decided that at some point we would find ourselves here so that we could learn more about who we are, why we are here, what is our deeper meaning for being here, what is our purpose for being here, and to experience joy true fulfillment in this journey of learning, not just on our own, but to do it together with others. I love this. Oh, I love it when we get messages that are so deeply aligned with what it is that we are experiencing. And then the second question that I'm going to ask is, what can we expect as we go on this journey, being a part of this book club? What can we expect to unfold on the journey, however long this journey wishes to be? Whether it's a few days, a few weeks, a few months, years, however long we find ourselves here, what can we expect? Whew. 2 cards have popped out, and we have got Atlantis. Keep the big vision, stay in alignment as you grow. And the second card is the Well Maidens. Kindness, respect, reverence, compassion. So I'm going to hold this up for you so you can have a look at the cards. And I'm going to give you a moment to really connect with what may be coming through for you as you look at these cards. Is there any message that is coming through for you? And I will share mine in a moment. So I got a beautiful message from these cards. What we can expect on the journey is that there will be change. So if you happen to have a dream, a vision, being on this journey, being a part of this book club, whatever books find their way to you through this book club, even if you choose the books on your own, it is going to help you move towards this dream, this vision. It is going to help you stay in alignment with what it is that your soul chose to experience, was destined to experience. And the part or the element of kindness and compassion, I see 2 parts to this. So the journey of transformation, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's not always easy and it's not always glamorous. It is quite intense. And so there's a need for us to show ourselves so much kindness and gentleness and softness, great compassion towards ourselves as we begin this journey, as we move through this journey. We need to treat ourselves with the most amount of love and care and respect. And at the same time, as we do that for ourselves, we will be aligning with other people who make us feel cherished, who make us feel respected, who show us compassion in return. So I see 3 women on this card. And that to me is showing that people are going to come together on this journey in some way or form. You're going to be uniting with others. And they're going to be the people that you've been longing for. They are going to feel like the family that you've been waiting for. You're going to experience what it is like to be in the company of people who are kind to you, who see you, who listen to you, who value you. who respect you. And if you have never experienced that before, I can understand that it is very difficult to imagine what that is like. But it is possible. It can and it will happen. You only need to allow it. That is your job. Allow it. There's not much effort involved other than to be open to the greatest opportunities and the greatest people to find their way to you. Yes, you do need to be brave enough to say hello, to connect to other people, but you no longer need to fight to find your place in this world. You don't need to fight to get people to get you. It gets to be easy. It gets to be easy. Oh, that is what has come through. If there's anything that has stood out for you, or if there's any different message that came through for you, please do share it. We're all on this journey together. We are here to grow together, to support each other, to cherish each other. And so it is my greatest joy to offer my messages and my insights to you, but it is also a great joy to receive them from you as well. So if you feel called, of course, remember, we do not do pressure. We do not do unwelcomed pressure in this space. So only if you feel called to say something, to share something, just know that we are waiting to hear from you. This space is yours to be yourself, to say what is on your mind. And I don't feel called to ask another question, but I am feeling called to look at whatever card is sitting at the bottom of the deck. And to me, that is going to reveal the energy of where we are right now. And the card that is at the bottom is called The Mist. Trust your inner compass, be led from within. It is beautiful. I'm going to try and focus this card so that you can see it as well. The image is not very clear. It's not vibrant. It's a very soft image. But it is showing a woman that is being led towards light. And so the energy right now, if you're feeling clouded in any way, if it feels like you've been walking through fog, if you don't really know where you're going, what you're doing, what you're meant to do, all you need to do is take one step forward at a time. Follow what your heart is telling you, what your soul is telling you. And soon you will find your way out of the cloudiness, and you will see the beautiful, bright light that has always been there. We're just not able to see it when we're in the mist. But the light is always there, and that light is calling you forward. Trust what you're feeling inside. And this is with regards to anything. So if you're feeling called to be a part of this book club, follow that calling. If you are feeling called to do something else in a different area of your life, follow that calling. You are in an energetic season of trusting what it is that you feel inside. whatever is speaking to you wants you to listen, because wherever it leads you, it will be more incredible and extraordinary, just the best possible experience that you have ever known or could ever imagine for yourself. Trust what you're feeling. And that is our reading for the launch of the book club. Let's just take a moment to let this message, the many messages that came through, to sink in. So if you feel comfortable, I invite you to sit still for just a moment, close your eyes if you'd like, and just breathe into this moment. You can experience the gratitude, if it is there, for finding yourself here at this time, at this point in your life, wanting to serve you in the greatest way. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being part of this launch, which I know that one day I'm going to look back at this moment and I am going to probably cry tears of joy for being willing to take this step and to do this. This is scary for me. I did tell you, as you move into the unknown, you're going to be guided to do things that are right for you, but are not necessarily comfortable. So here I am. I am scared, but I have never felt more at home, more aligned, more certain. Even though I'm uncertain, I have never felt more at ease and feeling like I'm exactly where I'm meant to be than I do right now. And I wish that for you as well. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for adding to this space. Who knows where it's going to lead us? This is only the beginning. Remember that as you move through the unknown, as you keep moving forward one step at a time, following that voice within, it can lead to unimaginable experiences, miraculous opportunities, divine encounters, extraordinary transformations, your life changing forever in the best way. All of that is possible because you chose to be here. You chose to show up. You are choosing to move forward with that hope, with that belief, with that faith. So I thank you for honoring yourself. Thank you for creating a beautiful space for all of us who feel called to be here. And I am so excited to journey ahead with you. So I will see you again soon. There will be a few videos that get posted for this launch period as we come together and we read whatever book we happen to have with us at this time. And we'll be sharing a bit of that. So I will see you there, and I look forward to connecting with you, chatting with you. I'm really grateful to be here with you. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.